Welcome to the Helix webinar series. Today's session is Smart Reporting to BMC Helix Dashboards. This is a 2-hour workshop. We may be able to finish early, but we will see how we do for time. Just a couple of reminders before we get started as well. There is the Q&A section of Zoom at the bottom, which you'll find. If you have any questions during the slides and the presentation, please put them in there. You will remain muted until we get to the live Q&A part at the end. If you do have any other queries or issues, again, please put them into the Q&A. So we'll get started with the agenda. So what we're going to be covering today is why BMC Helix Dashboards is the right dashboarding solution for service management, best practices of reports for migration, a product demo, and then we'll go through some roadmap slides, and then we'll have the final part, which is the Q&A. And also, just because we are sharing roadmap slides as well, we will be recording this session, but we will have to remove them post event. So prerequisite, you would have received an email from education. We have 2 courses that may not have been done in time for this session today, but we would ask and highly advise that you can get these sessions done. They are free of charge. So if you do get a chance in the next couple of weeks, it will certainly help you with your migration. And these are the 2 courses listed. If you've had any problems with registering or any concerns, then post-event, again, you feel free to reach out to me and I will put you in contact with our education team. So the last final bit is a legal notice. If you can just take a moment to read this. We are sharing those roadmap slides in this recording, and we will also be sharing out the slides post-event, but we will be removing those. Okay, so we're now going to get started. Nikhil, I'm going to hand over to you for the introduction.
Thank you, Sam, and welcome to our audience. Good afternoon, good morning, good afternoon, good evening from wherever you're joining this Smart Reporting to BMC Helix Dashboards Migration Workshop. I'm Nikhil Deshpande. I am a product manager for BMC Helix Dashboards, and together with my co-presenters today, Abhinay and Ajinkya, I'm going to walk you through the process of firstly, why you should consider migrating to BMC Helix dashboards, why it's a much superior solution for analytics than smart reporting. And we'll also walk you through the entire process of or the best practices of migration. There's a product demo included. I'll also be presenting the product roadmap. So let's begin with service ops. What exactly is service ops? For far too long in IT organizations, there have existed broadly 2 independent functional units, IT service management and IT operations management. Service management was focused on service desk activities, incidents, problems, changes, release, knowledge, service levels, and so on, service catalog, whereas the IT operations management business was focused on events, metrics, capacity, all of that. However, these 2 organizational units have worked in silos, and the walls between these 2 organizations are not conducive to the growth of IT organizations. These walls cannot help IT organizations realize their goals of making their businesses more competitive in the marketplace so that their businesses can compete with established enterprises as well as nimble startups. Also, equally important is the ability to support modern DevOps teams. Today, software development is no longer limited to the 4 walls of the IT function. Many lines of business hire their own software developers, and they want to continually develop and deploy enterprise software or software applications to their business units. And IT organizations need to ensure that service management principles and practices do not become an impediment to the growth of this DevOps movement. Also, today, anyone who's not in the business of serving external customers is in the business of serving internal customers. IT service management principles have worked well for serving serving your internal customers for IT. But today, the same principles also apply equally well to other lines of business, such as facilities, HR, and so on. And these lines of business also want to adopt the same service management principles. So, line of business service management is also part of the service ops story. Service ops is BMC strategy in the service management and operations management space. BMC Helix dashboards is an integral part of service ops. That brings us to BMC Helix dashboards. BMC Helix dashboards is built on Grafana, which is a state-of-the-art technology for building reports and dashboards. Whenever anyone develops dashboards, they're looking for insights into their processes. In service management and operations management, typically this is incident, service catalog, service desk, events, capacity, metrics, service levels, and so on. Also, today's consumers of analytics aren't just looking for data. They aren't just looking for queries that will pull data. You need to be able to present that data visually to them. The data needs to communicate to the consumers of analytics so that they can take actions. BMC Helix dashboards allows you to do that, and we do it through a wide range of visualizations. You can use the most appropriate visualizations, whether they are pie charts, bar charts, combination charts, and so on. Also, it's important to note that BMC Helix dashboards isn't just Grafana rebranded as BMC solution. We have invested into this product, and we have key IP around scheduling and exporting, because we know that today many consumers of information or analytics do so in an offline manner. They don't consume information online. And that's why we have invested and we continue to invest in capabilities that allow you to export your dashboards out of Helix and share them offline with consumers. We have an extensive set of out-of-the-box dashboards and reports, and this list keeps on growing. We had some out-of-the-box dashboards in smart reporting. We have many more in dashboards. And although our goal is not to match the parity of smart reporting in terms of dashboards, you can look forward to a broad range of dashboards in Helix dashboards across all BMC Helix products. And that brings us to the next important point. This is one reporting solution for all BMC Helix products. And that makes it different and unique compared to smart reporting. Why is BMC Helix dashboards the right solution for you? It's a common reporting solution that allows you to build dashboards and reports across all of these BMC Helix products. So once you have developed skills on BMC Helix dashboards, you can use them across IT service management, other line of business service management, as well as IT operations management solutions from BMC. Again, one of the pillars of service ops is the ability to drive outcomes in one domain based on what's happening in the other domain. So based on what's happening in events or metrics in operations management, you should be able to correlate that with incidents, changes, problems in the service management world. Dashboards is a tool that allows you to connect these two disparate data sources and present this information in dashboards where consumers can get insights into both operations management as well as service management. This is one dashboarding solution for all BMC Helix products. On the service management side, this is ITSM, CMDB, Digital Workplace, Innovation Suite. So if you have developed any custom applications on iOS, you can use dashboards to build dashboards on your custom apps. If you have uh, any of our operations management products, you can use dashboards to build reports across all of these operations management applications too. Operation BMC Helix operations management, capacity optimization, log analytics, discovery, and so on. Helix portfolio management is not yet available, but it's on our roadmap. Now let's look at a few sample out of the box dashboards. The first one is based on digital workplace. It's a DWP request overview dashboard. So you can see this is one dashboard that has panels that bring you a lot of data that helps you understand the service desk behavior or the service catalog behavior. It shows you the number of service requests raised, how many of them are active, how many fulfill, and so on, the average age of these service requests. Then you can get insights into trends, daily submissions, daily fulfillments, age of those service requests. Another important insight that service desk management teams want to have is into what are the broadly the top categories, or how every service desk manager at all times they must be thinking about how should they staff their service desk, what are the which business services or technical services have the most incidents or service requests. What are the top sites where you have major service desk activity? And accordingly, they can adjust their staff based on what they see from this dashboard. So it can help service desk teams with workforce planning. This is a service dashboard. It brings data across service management and operations management. You can see at the top, the panels at the top show you health score, situations, availability, categories, and so on. You'll also see events, outage durations. You see some service test metrics like mean time between failure, mean time to resolve, and some other metrics from service management. You also see a timeline at the center, which shows you events, health score, and incidents, the volume of incidents on one timeline. So this is where you've got data sources, we've got multiple data sources that feed into this timeline. And this is an intrinsic part of our service ops story. BMC has more control over what you have, what you see in dashboards, unlike smart reporting, which was entirely controlled by Yellowfin. With dashboards, we have more control over the source code. So although we are dependent on Grafana and for certain core capabilities, we rely on Grafana to continually evolve and will bring you, will take advantage of the innovations that Grafana brings by continually upgrading to recent versions of Grafana. But the point here is that BMC also has greater control over the features and capabilities of BMC Helix dashboards. Unlike smart reporting, we can fix certain things. We can continually deliver new capabilities to offer you features on top of what Grafana has done that. You'll see a broad range of visualizations that are prefixed with BMC table, BMC bar chart, BMC record details. These are all of the everything that is prefixed with BMC has been developed by the BMC team. And we have done this based on feedback that we have received from many of our customers, possibly some of you and several others. And based on the feedback that we receive from customers, we continually innovate and bring newer capabilities that will enable your transition from smart reporting to dashboards. Scheduling and exporting These are features that many of our customers use, and you'll see in the recent releases, we have added several capabilities that help you with these features. Grafana is a proven technology for scalability, for performance. Although Grafana is traditionally known for reporting on IT operations management, through our investments, we have made it equally good for service management use cases as well. And we'll see that in what we have delivered in terms of capabilities. Also, we have seen that Grafana is widely used in the market. Grafana skills or people with Grafana skills are readily available in the market. If you wish to hire external resources, you can find those resources. If you have internal resources, or have if you understand reporting, maybe not Grafana, but on smart reporting or Yellowfin or any other dashboarding tool, it's very easy for you to learn Helix dashboards or Grafana and get up to speed fairly quickly. So the learning curve is short, and you will quickly get up to speed with becoming productive in using dashboards to develop your reports. Dashboards is a solution not just for people who develop reports full time, but also those people who are familiar with their processes or ITIL practices. They know what they're looking for, but they're extremely busy. Typically, service desk managers, infrastructure managers, capacity managers, demand managers, service catalog managers, service level managers. All of these people can use dashboards to build reports without having to understand the technical details of where to fetch these from. And we'll see that in today's product demo on Visual Query Builder. BMC's IT function, we'll get to questions a little later. So please continue to post your questions in the question and answer window. And a little later, we'll come to responding to your questions. BMC's IT function also uses BMC Helix products, and they have developed a few dashboards that I'm going to show you a sneak preview into. The first one is a CIO dashboard. The CIO dashboard is used by IT leaders to get insights into what's going on in IT processes. You'll see at the top, you'll see several panels that show events, critical events, major, minor events, outages, business services, technical services. You also see a bar chart on the distribution of outages across different business services, across different technical services, which business applications are impacted the most. These are things that keep IT leaders on their toes all the time. And it's important that they know about these things to be able to take timely action to meet and exceed their customer expectations. There are several other metrics here on business services, databases, data centers, and so on. If you use VM vCenter, then this dashboard will be useful for you. You can pick up any vCenter and it shows you what's going on there in terms of availability, the clusters, data stores. You'll see CPU utilization. You see memory utilization across different clusters, disk utilization. So these are all important operations management metrics that operations and infrastructure managers must be familiar with. Next up is an application availability dashboard. Unlike the previous dashboards, this one uses gauges. Gauges are a visualization that can be used effectively for metrics that are typically of the nature of percentages. So availability is something that you show on a scale of 0 to 100. You typically expect availability of your business services to be 100% or almost up to 100%. But what is the availability of your services? This dashboard can help you with that. Now let's come to IT service management. Incident aging is an important metric for service desk management teams. One of across all teams, all service teams, whether it's IT services or any other service, the amount of work in progress is an important indicator of the speed with which the service desk delivers services. This dashboard gives you insights the number of into the size of that work in progress. And what is work in progress on the service desk? It's the volume of incidents, rather open incidents. How many incidents have been open for 7 to 14 days? How many have been open for 14 days to less than a month? How many incidents have been open for more than a month? So all of these metrics will help service desk management teams understand the volume of work in progress. Next, you want to see a distribution of your open incidents. So, okay, now you want to take action on these 185 incidents. How do you do that? Where do you start? You want to see the distribution of these by assigned groups or support teams. That's what the next panel shows you. Likewise, for the second bucket, 14 to 30 days, and so on. The number of times incidents are reassigned is also an indicator of ownership of incidents. If the number of reassignment is high, it means it probably indicates a lack of ownership of issues. And this can help service desk teams with continual service improvement initiatives. You want to ensure that incidents are not tossed across from one support team to another. Someone needs to take ownership. The right team needs to take ownership of incidents. And this panel that shows average reassignment can help you understand just that. This panel shows, it makes use of a crosstab. Crosstabs are good, are good visualization if you want to juxtapose metrics across two dimensions. So here it's priority of incidents versus aging. So you can see different incidents by counts of incidents of different priority across and with the age of or the age buckets as columns. Now we come to the second part of this workshop, which is about the process of migrating from smart reporting to dashboards. So we have worked with several customers over the past few years in migrations, and Abhinay from our professional services team will now help us understand some of the best practices, the migration framework. You can use this framework and these best practices to benefit from how from uh, from our professional services organization as well as other customers on how they have successfully transitioned from smart reporting to dashboards. So without much further ado, I'm now going to hand off to Abhinay.
Is my screen visible? Nikhil, can you
Yeah,
please confirm?
I can see it's not in full
Very
mode.
good.
Yeah, you need to
Yeah.
put it in full presentation. That's
All
it,
right.
perfect.
Perfect. Thank you. Hello, everyone. I'm Abhinay. I'm a practice manager with consulting services at PMC. And today I'll talk about how you can migrate from smart reporting to Helix dashboard. Uh, but wherever I say smart reporting, please feel free to substitute that with any reporting dashboarding solution that you already have in place. The framework, the best practices are equally valid. We are using smart reporting as an example because it's our own older product. with that, let's get into it. So Nikhil has already talked about why Helix Dashboard is such a great solution for all reporting and dashboarding needs. Now we'll take a look at how we can do this transition. We'll also talk about um, how you can assess how you're using your current reporting solution, and in particular, smart reporting, followed by a sample migration strategy. Finally, we'll talk about few learnings from the field. All right. So based on the work that we have done with all our customers who have gone through this transition, this journey, here's a 5 phase framework that we recommend. So it starts with prepare, which is where all of you are right now. So getting an understanding of what the change is, how the two platforms, the reporting solutions are different or similar to each other, and how you can start planning this transition. So all the awareness session, like the one that you are attending right now, all the trainings, like the prereqs you would have done, all of that will form this prepare phase, which leads us to planning phase. And this is where we would want to get deeper into uh, the details of how you are currently using your solution. So, smart reporting, we'll talk about smart reporting in detail, and how you can start planning for this migration. And that will lead us to migrate and validate phase. So the two phases go hand in hand. It's an iterative approach. So you migrate certain reports, and then the end user checks whether that makes whether the reports make sense to them or not, if they need any modifications. So the feedback loop goes back to the migration team, and finally, this leads to transition where we are actually going live with the new platform. And if you have an external team working with you, like PMC Professional Service or any other partner, then you'll be provided a post-go live support, knowledge transfer, and so on. Again, wherever I have mentioned BMCPS, feel free to substitute any team that's doing the actual migration. It could be your internal team, or it could be a partner, it could be it could be BMC Professional Services. All right. So before we talk about the planning, the first thing we need to understand is how you are using the current platform. So assessing the current solution. And the first starting point in that phase would be understanding how the two platforms are similar or different, and then we can start talking about what parameters we need to focus on. Now, I've only listed 4 object types here. There are many more aspects on which we can compare the two platforms, but I've only picked up the ones that have biggest impact in terms of the migration, the time and effort impact. So first thing you will notice is on smart reporting side, you have different object types, different reporting types. So you have reports with tabular reports, single visualization, multiple visualization, co-display reports. Then you have something called dashboard, which has linked reports in it. So it's other reports are staged into it. Uh, Whereas on Helix dashboard, you can see everything is a dashboard. So you can have one or more panels on it, but essentially everything is a dashboard. So uh, you can see how the mappings uh, play out here. So any report which has just one visualization or just the tabular data, they all map to a dashboard with one panel. Whereas if you have a multi-visualization report, co-display report, or a dashboard, all of them will map to a dashboard with multiple panels on it. Uh, Broadcasts have something very similar feature on Helix dashboard, and same goes for the linked reports. So drill down, drill through relationships on smart reporting. Uh, you'll also see some of these features are supported by the migration tool, and some of them do not have any support. And chart types, visualizations, uh, we'll see details in the next slide. So most of them have something similar on the other side. The two platforms are essentially different, but there is a mapping available, and uh, those are supported. So let's talk about the visualization. Like I said, the two platforms are different. They are built for different purpose. So on one hand, you have smart reporting, which is more focused or more inclined towards service management use cases, whereas Helix Dashboard, as Nikhil talked about, it's much broader. We have built it for service ops use cases. So we are taking care of a different type of use cases there. So the visualizations also reflect it. So we the two platforms have different visualizations, although you would see all the commonly used visualizations are present in both sides. So you have something very similar to what you were already using or available in Helix Dashboard. So all the different variations of bar charts, like horizontal bars, 3D horizontal, vertical 3D, all of it maps to bar chart in Helix Dashboard. Similarly, you have pie, ring, pie 3D, all of that is mapping to pie charts on Helix Dashboard, where you can configure how they show up. So you can customize it in that way. Now, you can also see some of the visualizations do not have anything similar on Helix Dashboard. So in these cases, so if you have these visualizations in use, then based on the data that we want to represent, we need to pick some other visualization type after the conversion is done. Okay, now we have a fair idea about how the two platforms are similar or different, and we know some of the top uh, features that we need to understand when we are doing assessment. Let's talk a little more about the assessment now. So building on what we have already discussed, uh, number one thing that we would want to know is how many reports are there, how many reports we want to migrate, and the total volume will have the biggest impact. So that's number one. And next one is the type of reports that we are using, the visualizations they are using. So are they co-display reports or are they reports with single visualization? What type of visualizations are they using? Are there any unsupported visualizations that are being used? So we need to understand all of this. Next is complexity of report, which depends on point number two, what type of reports are we using? So for example, a co-display report you can uh, imagine, because it has all these embedded reports in it, the complexity goes up as the number of child reports increase. Other factors that influence the complexity of report would be how many advanced EP functions are you using, calculated fields that you're using, and so on. So we need to understand some of these parameters. Next is how frequently the report is run, and associated uh, parameter would be when was it last run, when was it last accessed. So now this parameter will help us filter out some of the unused reports and the reports which are not top priority. So separate out our high priority reports from the low priority reports and the ones that are not really in use. So uh, the junk reports you may say. Finally, the other features that we talked about, so dashboards, are the report part of any dashboard? Um, are there any broadcasts set up on that particular report? Are there any drill down, drill through relationships? Now, question is, how do you do this assessment? And for that, uh, purpose, we have all these SQL queries listed on BMC documentation. I've included the link at the top. So all of these SQL queries will provide you insight into a specific parameter. So you can get all this information and much more. I've only talked about the one that have biggest impact, but we can get to very granular level of what kind of uh, reports or what kind of features are we using in our smart reporting platform. All right. So here is a sample assessment report that BMCPS created for one of the assessments. Now, uh, uh, these are slightly tweaked queries, but they are built on the same queries that I talked about. Everything is available on BMC Docs. Um, so you can see all the parameters that we talked about in our previous slide are listed over here. So we have the report name followed by how many times that report was run in last 90 days. Now, this particular assessment, we look back last 90 days. You may want to look at a smaller period or a longer period. So you may want to look at maybe just 60 days or 120 days. So it's up to the organization to decide how far back we want to look back. Essentially, what we want to understand is what are our top priority reports and what reports have not been used in last X number of days. So do we really want to migrate them? Next is public private. We'll come back to that, why this is so important. Then we have visualizations, what type of visualization this report is using, and that will give us an idea whether the tool can help us for that report or not. Next, four columns give an indication on the complexity of reports. So how many calculated fields are there, database functions that are being used, drill down, drill through relationships, co-display reports, so child reports embedded in this report. Uh, and finally, we have if the report is part of any dashboard, then the dashboard, and finally the count of broadcasts. Let's put all of this together in a sample migration strategy. Now, every organization is different, so the strategy will have to be tweaked for every organization, how you want to do the migration, especially the migrate and validate phase. Um, so this migration strategy aligns to the framework, five-phase framework that we talked about at the beginning of session. We've talked about prepare phase. We have talked about assessment. So let's go to the next steps in planning phase. So once we have done the assessment, we uh, filter the reports that we don't want to migrate based on the report hit count and the inputs from the consumers of the report, which are the priority reports and which are not. And once we have that listed out, we can prioritize the reports and define a scope for pilot phase. So what do I mean by that? So you have already prioritized the reports, filtered the reports, but then again, we don't want to go big bang approach with all the reports in one go. What we want to do is divide it into phases and picking the highest priority reports in our pilot phase. So uh, once we have defined that narrow scope for our top priority reports, then we go ahead and analyze each of those reports, how we want to tackle them. And by that, essentially, what we are trying to determine is, do we want to convert the report as is, um, either using the tool or manually? Or do we want to recreate the report from scratch? And that could be for different reasons. Like you may want to leverage the new features uh, in the new platform. You have access to more data sources, so you may want to recreate, reimagine that report. or you may want to reuse something existing, any out of box report or any report dashboard that's already existing. So uh, once we have this plan in place, we start with the migration. Uh, the easiest way to get started is a tool assistant conversion. So if you have decided to convert certain number of reports as is, then that's where the tool comes in. Not all reports can be converted by the tool. So once the tool does its job, we pick up rest of the reports and then recreate them manually. That could be done either using either taking the queries as is, or rebuild that report, which is the recommended approach using the visual query builder. And we'll see Ajinkya do a demo of that feature. So once we are done with the migrate phase, the reports are passed over to the end users for their review. If their reports are acceptable to them, do they match what they were expecting out of that kind of a report? That again, I should reiterate, the two platforms are different, so look and feel would be different. So it's very important that the end users are comfortable with what we have converted. And then, like I said, it goes iteratively. If there is a feedback, that goes back to the migration team until we are all happy with what we've got, which will lead us to the transition phase. So we have go live, knowledge transfer, and that concludes our pilot phase. And now you can start with the next set of priority reports in subsequent phases. All right, so let's talk about few learnings that we have from based on our us working with a lot of customers. There are some common themes that we have seen across the board, and the number one on that list is definitely report sprawl. So what happens is, over a period of time, since most organizations do not have a governance structure imposed on reporting, so everybody is free to create their own reports. Over a period of time, this leads to a lot of reports which are not in use, and this number varies from one customer to other customer. What we have commonly seen is it's generally upwards of not 50%. So more than 50% of reports are not in use; they're just lying there. I've seen this number go as high as 90%. So only 10% of reports were really in use. All other were just lying in there. So every organization is different with different uh, structure in place. So who can create the report? So that leads to this difference. The other reasons that we have seen many reasons why these unused reports piling up, and most common reasons are that many of those reports were just created as a one-time use report. So you got the data, the report is not really in use ever again, or the report owner has moved out of the organization or to a different part of the organization. Nobody's looking at the report anymore, or especially true if the report is marked as private. So in that case, others may not be even aware of that report. So that's why during the assessment, that is also an important feature to look at. So once we have identified the report sprawl, the next one that we want to consider is redundancy in reports. And this essentially is the reuse part that I talked about in the previous slide. So we want to take a look at what out-of-box dashboards are available. And Nikhil talked about quite a few, and there are many more getting released every version. So do take a look at this list. See if some of these dashboards can do a better job than what you are planning to migrate. So instead of migrating, simply use out-of-box reports. Finally, Community contributed content is also available on BMC communities. So some of those dashboards can again be very helpful if you are trying to do something similar to consider them. And finally, in the same along the same direction, you have all these new consoles available within the product. So you have shared ticket console and asset console. The screenshots you can see on the right hand side of the slide. So these consoles are a good substitute for reports which are just representing tabular data. So if you have a report which is just showing some uh, ticket assignments and ticket related data or asset related data, then take a look at these consoles. Maybe they can substitute those reports. You can save presets, you can export the reports, so it can be an excellent candidate. Finally, the last one is planning the phases. And I talked about this a little bit in the previous slide that you want to uh, start with a small set of reports for your pilot phase. And uh, it's very tempting that you want to execute the migration tool on all the reports that you may have. But then again, it with a big number of report, it gets harder to analyze the reports, and uh, then the migrated reports may not be as good as what your end users, consumers may want. So uh, plan a smaller pilot phase, and that will allow you to take closer look at all the reports that you are trying to migrate. What is the right approach for each of those reports? Whether you want to recreate them, reuse something else, or you want to take it as is, migrate it. So that's where this helps us, and it also helps us during the validation phase, because there's only so many reports that your end users can handle. So they can only validate so many reports because that's a manual step. All right, let's take a look at three of the customers that we help do this transition. And all three of them are very different. Uh, your case might match one of those, or it may be completely different. So every organization, like I said, is different, built differently. So we have to see what works best for each of the case. The first one is a large customer department, and they really had very complex reports. And based on our discussion with them, we decided the best approach there would be to take very few reports at a time, see what we are trying to do there, and then recreate all of those reports rather than taking them as is. This allowed us to improve the performance of those reports. When we are recreating, rebuilding, we can optimize the way the queries are happening on the platform, and at the same time giving better visual, better user experience to the end users. So while at the beginning they saw they had 5,000 plus reports, but on closer analysis, it uh, the number came down to 95 priority reports. So these are the top priority reports. There were other reports that they wanted to migrate, but the number drastically came down from the 5,000 plus reports. The way we migrated was in a agile fashion. So we had 10-day sprints. At the start of every sprint, the team would pick up certain reports. Based on their complexity, the number would vary, but somewhere around 7 to 8 reports every sprint. And like a true agile way, so all other activities went in parallel, the UAT and the bug fixing of the previous and so on. The next one is a retail giant, and they are a classic case of report sprawl. So they had 11,000 plus reports. Now, uh, after the first round of filtering, the number came down to 6,000. So 5,000 plus reports they did not really need at all. So that was cut right away to 6,000. And but then the priority reports were 381, so they were picked up for the pilot phase. The last one we have here is a large e-commerce player, and uh, they had a very different approach to the migration. So for prioritizing the reports, instead of going report first, they went dashboard first. So they picked two dashboards which were really critical for their teams. And when I say dashboard, I'm talking about smart reporting dashboards. So they picked up two smart reporting dashboards which had 30 something reports linked to them, and those reports had further drill down, drill through reports. So overall, 57 reports were picked up for the pilot phase. This was also a very highly agile way of doing the migration. So weekly conversions, weekly UATs, and weekly Delta go lives for whatever was converted. All right, let's talk about few resources that will help you in going through this journey. So first up for you should be the documentation page. It has all the resources that you would need, whatever I talked about, all the features, everything is listed over here. Here are a few additional resources. Um, so previous meetings, webinars, and videos. There are other documentations that you can use. Education courses. So you might have uh, done few prerequisite courses for this webinar, but there are many more available. So based on the expertise level that you are looking for, you can pick different courses. PMC community. So I talked about community contributed dashboards. So few examples are listed at the bottom of the slide. But also you can use communities uh, to raise enhancement ideas, which other users and partners can vote on. And you can also ask questions and find a lot of knowledge articles, blogs, and best practices. Finally, if you need help from BMC, so we have BMC Professional Services offerings, which are related to Helix dashboard. The one on the left side is more in tune for moving from smart reporting to Helix dashboard, and the one on the right hand side is more appropriate if you are starting from scratch or moving from some other reporting solution to Helix dashboard. That's all I had um, for the demo. Back to you, Nikhil.
Thank you, Abhinay. Right, so now I'm going to cover a demo of Visual Query Builder. This is a recording, but please watch this and you're available to respond to your questions. So this is Visual Query Builder is a tool that allows you to extend the process of dashboards, developing dashboards to people who do not have technical skills. For anyone who does not understand the underlying data model, how various forms relate to one another, if they cannot write SQL, no problem. They can use Visual Query Builder to use it, take advantage of its drag and drop interface to build reports. And then we will also look at Reporting Metadata Studio. This is a development tool that allows you to extend these metadata views. We ship several out-of-the-box metadata views like incident, problem, change, and so on. If you have custom fields or custom forms or custom apps in AR, you will need to extend these views using Reporting Metadata Studio. So we'll cover both of them in this demo.
Hello everyone. I'm going to show you all Visual Query Builder and Reporting Metadata Studio, how it helps to create dashboard very quickly. And as a smart reporting user, Visual Query Builder gives you a similar experience of creating dashboard. So let's see how we can use Visual Query Builder to create dashboards. Okay. So this is our Helix portal, first landing page on the Helix portfolio. I'm just opening Helix dashboard from here. Okay, so this is just my home screen. I'm just closing this dock window. Okay, so I'll just use this first plus button to create new dashboard. I'm creating a new dashboard. I'm just clicking on add new visualization. For getting data from different application, different PMC Helix application, we have
Nikhil, it's paused.
for
I don't know
service
if.
management,
Oh, that's
again,
it.
there are three types. Either you can use this form to create, or you can use SQL or Visual Query Builder, these two options. So SQL is freehand SQL, and Visual Query Builder, the one that I was talking about, which gives you a similar experience like a smart reporting to create dashboard. Okay? So I'm just clicking on this Visual Query Builder. It opens this entire screen, and if you see here, the view is selected. And first view is incident management. So if you see, there are many views provided by BMC as a out of box, like this change management, problem management, work order, and so on. So for now, for this demo, I'm just going to use visual incident management as a view. This view, when I say view, it's a combination of multiple forms in the AR, and also the join, and also the fields from that particular form or the column from that particular team. Okay, so if you see here, there are categories, like we call this as the fields. Okay, so incident management, and these are all incident related. That we have some which are like only the date type. So if you notice, the icon represent that this is a date and time type of field. If you see here, these are the submitters, so it's a string, okay, string text type of. Then priority is again enum field. Okay? And similarly, we have some which is like total transfer or group transfer. These are the number field. So that way we have the different icons for different type of field. So let's say if I want to generate a report, let's say a simple report, show me the incident number and its priority. I can simply just drag these two fields. I can click on preview. It will show me, okay, the first 100 rows just for a preview, what query I have selected. And if I want to see, okay, what query it is getting generated at the backend, I can simply click on this SQL and it will show. So if I just click on use query, my panel is ready. I can click on apply and I can save this dashboard. That way my simple panel is ready. I don't need to write a SQL here. I can simply use this drag and drop functionality to create a report. So if I want to do some aggregation, let's say, right, I want priority wise number of incidents, let's say. then I can use these aggregate functions. So depending on the field type, there are some aggregate functions associated. So if I click on this, now this will show me the count of incident number based on the priority. This is aggregation function on top of some field, right? We just need to use this 3 dot and use these functions. If we don't want to use field and then aggregation, there are some predefined calculated field which are like similar to this. Let's say count of incident will give you, if I want to have count of incident, I can simply use this number of incident field and calculate it directly as well. Okay. So I'll just remove this, I'll click on preview and use quick. So now this is showing a data for all priority. Let's say I want to filter this data based on the priority. So I can simply add this priority in the category, in the filter, and I can use these values. So as this is enum, we pre-populate the values for it. So I can simply say critical, I'll say preview. It will just show me the data only for critical. When I click on apply, this panel will show data only for critical priority. This visual query builder is like mostly used for creating a query and getting data into the Helix dashboard. Rest all functionality like visualization, all schedule, everything will be same. So there is no change in user experience for that. It is same for all. Now, let's say I have created this panel, but there are use cases where we need a variable or a filter, right? So we can use Visual Query Builder as a filter as well. So let's say I want to create a filter for priority and simply say enable query editor, and this will open. This will show me the UI for Visual Query Builder. And here I want to create a filter for priority. So I'll just drag and drop this priority field here, the selection, and I'll click on preview. So these very well. Here I cannot drag multiple things because for variable it requires only one column. So only one field I can drag and drop. We can have some functions to it. We can add filters even in the variable that we can do, but only one field in the variable. So I'll just click on use query and my panel is ready. Okay. If I click on apply, if I go back to dashboard, this will show critical, high, low, medium as a filter, and I can use that here as well. So how to use that? Earlier, with the SQL mode, we have to add that variable reference in the query. Now with the Visual Query Builder, we can simply use this button. Instead of default values, I will use template as priority. I'll just remove this. I will just click on preview. And now this will show data for critical because first selection is critical. If I switch to high, this will show data for high. If I switch to low, it will show data for low. So this way we can link variable in the VQB as well. Okay. So yeah, these are the Visual Query Builder options flow. If I also want to show you a few more things, like there are multiple out-of-box dashboard similar to incident management. Also, this list will show some custom dashboard as well. Let's say if you have any customization done on the AR side and that is not covered in these out-of-box dashboard, out-of-box views, then we have to modify these views, add our customization, and again publish that view to Helix dashboard so that report editors can use this view. For that customization, what we have another application which is reporting metadata studio. Okay. So to get that studio, what you can do, you can just simply go to administration, then general, then you will see a tile for reporting metadata studio. Okay. From here, you can use this download button. It will download one zip file, which is a Windows application, Windows standalone application that you need to execute or run on any Windows server where you have the Kazig setup with AR database. Okay, because this tool will need a connectivity between Helix dashboard plus AR database. Okay, for that we can configure Kazig, and some of the details which are required, you can get it from here. Right, this AR host and port, these are some dummy values because these are the Kazig gateway host and port. Okay. You can simply use this copy to clipboard button to copy these values. Okay, so now if we talk about reporting metadata studio, so I have just downloaded this zip file from Helix dashboard and I extracted that. It shows me this particular folder, reporting metadata editor. Here we have this BMC auth configuration, and in this we have to just do a configuration for my ADE information. Okay, so what is my ADE tenant? That information I can quickly get from here, from the portal. This is my tenant URL. This is my tenant ID. This is my tenant URL. Again, AR host and port. This is the Kazig configuration. So if I just show you, this is my Kazig configuration file where I've configured this host with this port, this IP address, and with this port. So that way I have configured this, and those details I have mentioned here. REST endpoint. This is a platform URL which you can get it from Helix dashboard. Like go to connection, open this particular BMC Helix data source, and inside this there is a platform URL. From here you can get this information. Environment alias, you can give any. For now I'm using this for demo, so that's why I'm giving given alias as a demo. We can have QA, prod, or dev, any name we can give. This is just an alias. Okay, so this is the environment file. Then we have profile file as well, where we need to mention key and secret of the user who is the reporting admin. Okay, so I'm using this user, user 2, and he is an administrator. Rather, instead of reporting administrator, he is a tenant administrator. And for him, how to get the user access key and secret? So on the Helix portal, if I go to my profile, then I have this option, right, to get my access keys. From here, I can simply click on add key, and I can give some name, and I'll generate my access key for this account. This key has two parts. One is access key, and another one is a secret that we can mention, that we can copy and paste in this file and save this file. So with this, all my reporting metadata studio configuration is done. I am ready to open reporting metadata studio. So what I will do, I'll just open this reporting metadata studio in the edit mode. Yeah. And I'll just open this batch file. Okay. Reporting metadata studio requires JDK, OpenJDK 17 and above. I have just configured 17 here on this server. This will like do authentication with the respect of your access key and secret, and opens up this UI. So whenever you open first time, you'll see like this blank screen. There is no connection, nothing. This is our first landing screen for reporting metadata studio. Here we have some option. This is a Windows normal application, which we can use to modify. So before we modify, we can get these out-of-box views plus the custom views from Helix dashboard. So if you see, these are all out-of-box dashboard provided. These are all custom dashboards which I have created on this set. Okay. To start with any customization, we have three options. Either you can take any out-of-box dashboard, do the modification, save it with some different name, and publish to the Helix dashboard, and your view will be ready. Or else you can create from scratch. Just click on this new and start creating your view. Or third option is we can use this sample metadata view as a baseline where we have only two table and few columns from that table and one join. So that we can take it as a reference and extend that according to your need. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take again incident management, same view, just clicking on OK to import. It asks me to save this model with some name. So I'll give 1009, INC 1009. Click on OK. Now what this reporting metadata studio will do, it will actually download this view from Helix dashboard. As being this Helix dashboard as a SaaS application, all the views are stored at the SaaS or the S3 level. Okay, so it will download that file, load that file into this reporting metadata studio, and we are ready to modify this particular view. So if you see, this is our out-of-box dashboard, which consists of HPD help desk, association, base element, task, impact areas, work log. These many tables are already added, table or form included in this views. This line shows the relationship between these two columns. This is like hierarchy of the relationship. This is A and this is B. And if you mouse over, you can see the relationship between all these tables or forms. Okay. Before we start, I just need to create a connection to the database. So I'm just opening this connection, database connection. This is a generic database connection to the AR server. Okay, it uses this URL, which we pre-populate depending on the configuration in that environment file. Only thing is user need to provide username and password. So I'm going to use same user, right? And I'm just clicking on this test button to verify if my connection is ready. Okay, so my connection is on. Clicking on OK. And now I can use this button to import the table. So here, import table. Now what I need to add one column, one new table in this view, and one column from that table. So for that, I'm just using this import table. This will show me all the tables from the AR. This list also includes all the customization done into the AR system. So just for demo, I am going to use HPD statistics as a column which is not there in this view. I'm just selecting that, clicking on OK. Now, if you see, my table is added here as a physical table. Okay, these are all physical tables. Now, in this business model, we have add this new table as a business table. So I'm just clicking on add new business table. I'm selecting this, and now this HPD help desk, HPD statistics, which was physical table, now added as a business table. Now I need to add relationship between these two. So I can click on new relationship. I'll say HPD help desk of incident number. Let's say incident number. Just get that. Incident number and HPD help desk statistics and its instance counter. With this, I'm going to join because I know this schema. So I'm going to join these two table with the inner join. So I'm selecting inner join and I'm clicking on OK. So if you see, this line is generated and it shows the relationship between these two tables. I'm just simply saving this just to preserve my work. Now, after you save this, now what next? I want few column which I want to use it as a field from this statistic table. So what I will do, I'll just add new category. Okay, I'll just, when I say category, it is the folder which we have seen on the Visual Query Builder. I'll say stats, and new folder is created. I'm just going to add few fields. Let's say status in this particular stat folder. I'll say user. I want user. I want company. I think that's all for now, just for a demo. And I'm clicking OK. So if you see, these three fields got added. And if you notice, like these are all the fields which we see on the Visual Query Builder in this same order. So I'm just clicking on save again, just to save. Now my changes, whatever the changes that I wanted to do as a customization in out-of-box dashboard, that is done. I just want to verify my changes and verify my join. So here we have this query builder. We can use this query builder just to verify the changes. Okay. So I'm just selecting, okay, incident number I want, which is from HPD help desk, and I want these three fields which I have added, which are from HPD statistics that I have added. I can simply click on this equal and see, okay, how is the join created. So if you see, the join is correct, also the columns are there. And I can click on this run button. So, okay, so it will show me some data as well, first 5,000 rows. for the preview purpose. Okay. So now I'm happy with all my changes that I wanted to do in the view. I'm saving this one more time just to not miss anything. And next step is, as this studio is on my Windows machine, I want to make this view available for all the reporting user, right? Report editor. So what I have again published to Helix dashboard option. And here I can see demo. And this is the alias which I have given in this one, right? The alias. So here we have this option as well, configure tenant environment. Let's say there is a use case. You are creating this view on the dev environment. You test everything on the dev environment, but you don't want to create a view again on the QA or on the prod. You just want to publish this to QA or prod, right? So in that case, you can configure another tenant environment by using this option, and then give some different areas and select that name to publish your view. Right now, I have only one, so I'm just selecting this demo. It is asking me for some name, so I'll give the same name, INC 1009, today's date. I'll simply say okay. Now, what it will do, this reporting metadata studio will again generate an XML file to check the authentication, like the reporting metadata studio authentication. Upload this file to report to Helix dashboard. Okay. So this is now upload is done, shows this is available. So if I go back again to Helix dashboard, and if I try to create a new dashboard using VQB, okay. So let's say I am a viewer or report editor here. Now if I want to use the views which is created by Adam, so I'll just say INC 1009. Okay. So this view is available for me. And I can see, okay, stat folder is also I can see here. I'll again create same report on the VQB as well. Let's say incident number, status, user, and company. And I click on preview. This will show me again a similar result. So this way we can do customization in the reporting, in the out-of-box views, or we can have the different views depending on all our customization done in the AR database. So yeah, that's what I. Hello everyone. So I'm.
All right, we'll now come to the last part of this workshop, which is the product roadmap. Am I audible?
Yes, I can hear you, Nikhil. I think that's perfect if this is the roadmap
thank you.
piece now. Yeah.
Right. So one of our most popular features is Visual Query Builder. You just saw a demo of Visual Query Builder, a drag and drop interface for developing reports without having to understand the underlying forms or the data model or having to write SQL. We ship several out-of-the-box metadata views for common objects in our service management products. Reporting Metadata Studio is the accompanying developer tool that allows you to extend these views. If you have your custom fields or custom forms or custom apps on AR, you can use Metadata Studio to create your own views or extend the incident view or the change view, whatever as required. Another recent feature is global constraints. Global constraints are conditions. They're like mandatory filters that we apply on a metadata view. For example, we know that some of our customers in some countries use it for applying filters on company, where if you have multiple companies in your ITSM instance and you don't want users to be able to uh, use or have that filter on company every time, you can create different metadata views for different companies. So anyone who develops a dashboard on that view will inherit, or it will automatically take those conditions. Visual Query Builder, we have continued to improve Visual Query Builder through additional operators to make it easier for you to create queries similar to what you can do in SQL. So operators like between, in, not in. You can use data and string functions. Like for example, if you don't have good quality data, let's say in a field you have got values yes and no, but you find that some values are yes, all uppercase, some are yes, all lowercase, some are yes with Y capitalized. You may want to standardize all of them through some string functions like upper and lower. Likewise, you can use ltrim, altrim, what you would do in a SQL. We also have functions for manipulating dates and times. So you just want to extract a particular date part or time part from that. You can do that through these functions. Other common filter operators is null, is not null, for string and number functions like in, not in, and so on. So all of these you'll find useful when you use Visual Query Builder. Role-based access control is another recent feature that allows you to create custom roles. Now, out of the box, dashboard ships with 3 roles: editor, viewer, and admin. Now you can create your own custom roles so that depending on your use cases, you can create your custom roles. You can decouple these roles from BMC Helix portal, and you decide as an admin, you decide what permissions to grant to each role. And then having done that, you can grant that role to different users. So this allows you to, it gives you much more flexibility in the access control mechanism that you may want to implement at your company. For example, these are the use cases that are possible. Allow only specific roles to download reports. You can do that. Restrict access to specific roles. You can do this too. Allow specific roles to manage data sources. Allow users to manage schedules and so on. So you now have much granular control over what users can do in dashboards. We know that in most companies, there are users, typically IT management or line of business management, that they are a stakeholder in analytics. They consume information, but they may not consume information online. They may prefer to be emailed their dashboards. And that's why we have made several enhancements to exporting to PDF, especially PDF, which is the most common format of exporting dashboards. For example, when you see a dashboard that requires scrolling online, when you export it to PDF, uh, we export the entire content so that it's not just a screenshot of that report. Several formatting improvements have been made to some plugins like the table plugin, a repetition of headers, support for branding, so you can have your own custom logo. And whatever improvements we have done to dashboards, the same are applicable when you want to export just certain specific panels. And different formatting improvements apply to different plugins or visualizations. Some apply to table, some to table and BMC table, some to the BMC crosstab, and some to the BMC record details. Dashboard widgets in application consoles is about embedding dashboard directly within the BMC Helix applications. For example, in smart IT or in business workflows, you should be able to embed dashboard widgets so that you can have certain dashboards directly in those applications without having your agents to come to dashboards for basic dashboards. For example, dashboards that you want to bring to their attention, what's going on in the service desk or in an HR agent, facilities agent. You can use this to embed dashboards within your applications. With BMC Helix Marketplace, we are considering how we can leverage it for customers and partners to share dashboard definitions with one another. You'll not share dashboard data, obviously, it's your data. But if you're a partner, a BMC partner, and you want to showcase your dashboard capabilities to our customers, you can develop a few dashboards and upload it to the marketplace so that other customers can adopt it and they can become familiar with your competencies in this space. Likewise, as a customer, if you believe you've developed a few cool dashboards, you can upload it to the marketplace and allow other customers to benefit from it. With that, we are almost towards the end of this workshop, just the last section, design partnership, for which I'm going to hand over back to Sam.
So if we can just move to the next slide. So for those that haven't been on webinars or any of these type of workshops before, we work very closely, the product management team and myself in the programs team, with our UX team. The design partnership is an opportunity if you've got really good ideas or you'd like to see something different. It's an opportunity for you to collaborate with us. So there's a couple of recommendations why. We'll move to the next slide, which shows you how to sign up. So we've got a QR code if you do have your phones at hand. There's also a click here. Naturally, you can't click on there right now, but we will be sharing the slides out. So you can put yourself forward or your company if you're interested in being part of the design partnership. And if we can move to the next slide. So just a couple of reminders, we've been running these sessions now for nearly 10 months. Every month we're trying to do a workshop. So if you do have any colleagues in different regions and we haven't covered that region, feel free to reach out to me, Samantha. My details will be on your thank you email and we will try to get them scheduled. There is only a few months left as of next year before the migration needs to happen. So if you're having any challenges or you need any services, again, this team that's on here today, we can help put you in contact with different parts of BMC. This slide will be shared as well. So if you want to watch back any of the recordings, again, we'll be posting today's recording out as well. And the Q&A may be quite useful so you can see the types of questions and challenges and maybe get some responses to some of your questions. There's also documentation that Abby shared earlier as well. And that documentation, if you want to take a look, we work very closely with the documentation to create that as well. So conscious of time, we have still got about 20 minutes or so. We do have a couple of questions into the Q&A or more generic stuff of you sharing stuff, Nikhil. So I'm not sure if it's something you can do today, but Akib has put in a question, can we see some visualization capabilities, please? New charts, etc. should be attractive like Power BI. And I'm not sure, correct me if I'm wrong, we've got a session on Thursday, which is about new features and functionality, whether or not this is actually covered. So I don't know if you want to talk to that point, Nikhil, and I'll start unmuting everyone.
Yes. We've got several visualizations in dashboards. Apart from the commonly used table, we also have BMC table, which has several new capabilities that the out-of-the-box table does not. We also have combination chart. We've got bar charts, combination charts, pie charts. We've got gauges, and we'll be launching a few more visualizations in the coming months. Our product documentation provides an exhaustive list of all visualizations that are available with dashboards.
Thank you, Nikhil. That's the only question that's still pending. I will just open up the opportunity for those that are still on here. If you do have any questions, I'm working very quickly at trying to unmute you all if you want to speak with us. And just why I'm doing that, the session we have on Thursday, I will be sending out the registration details. I'm sure many of you are already signed up, but this session is run by Nikhil and his team. So Nikhil, do you want to just give a brief of Thursday's session based on that previous question? What we're going to be covering on Thursday?
Yes, on Thursday, October 17th, we have a webinar on the key features of BMC Helix Dashboards 24.4. This is our most recent release, and it will give you a preview into the features of the latest release. So you'll learn about the latest release. We'll also cover a product demo to familiarize you with the new features so that once you, as I said, we continually deliver new capabilities, and through these workshops, through these webinars, you get an opportunity to understand what's new in the latest release. So,
Nikhil, I have some questions here.
yes, please go
Yeah,
ahead.
I'm on all this side. Yeah. So a major concern was like there are many limitation in the migration tool. So will there be any further improvements to that?
At the
Like
moment,
one,
please
like
go
the
ahead. What
yeah,
kind of
yeah, like
limitation?
there was like, see, it is limited to like while we migrate a report, it shows the 30-month data, but like n number of reports at our project are like scheduled. We need 6 months old dump, 3 months old dump. So like we would have to modify all the reports like moving one by one. So that was a major challenge for our migration, and there are many reports that use drill down, so how could that be migrated? And there are many views that are created for like calculated field, like slm and hpd help desk are joined. So like if even I join, like I create a new metadata from like new view from
Hmm.
metadata as well. So if I'll migrate that report, will that be migrated, or I need to like create that report also after creating the new metadata?
So if once you create the metadata view, then you don't need to migrate the report, because migrated reports will come with a SQL. They cannot be edited using a metadata view. We would encourage you to build your custom metadata views for your customizations. And so, for example, if you want to bring in SLM along with incidents and so on, bring those SLM objects or SLM forms into the incident view and create your own custom views so that your users can build reports using Visual Query Builder. Uh, Ajinkya, are you able to respond to the question on the migration tool?
Can't hear you,
No,
Ajinka.
you're not.
Yeah, it's really unaudible. I don't know if you're in a bad signal area. Can you hear us? No.
Okay,
Ajinka,
doesn't matter.
maybe you could write it in the response or something. We'll follow up with that. Sorry, Nikhil.
Yes, so Manal will respond to you.
Mm.
Look forward to a response. We'll be posting our responses to your questions today.
Yeah,
If we
we'll do a
cannot
follow-up.
answer you right away, we will answer them later, and
Yeah,
you can always read our responses.
one more doubt to add into that was like while we create a Helix report, like
You're breaking.
while we click on view SQL, it gives us a freehand SQL query that it is using. So if we just copy paste that exact query, am I audible now?
Yes, now it's
Hello.
better, but we
Much
lost you for a
better.
few
Yeah.
seconds. You'll have to state your question.
Yeah.
It's like Daleks.
Yeah, so like while we click on the view SQL in the smart reporting, it gives us the freehand SQL which this report is using. So if we just copy paste the exact SQL into our generate SQL in Helix dashboard, so will it create the exact report, or still we need to do the modifications?
It will. Your query part, the
Okay.
query part, you can certainly use from your reports in smart reporting. Absolutely.
Okay, because that might help, like, so we won't have to create the new views. So in the fields, in the reports which we are using the calculated fields and all, we could like simply paste the query from there.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you for your questions. We have a question in the Q&A from Thomas. Thomas, if you want to come off mute, this is a very common question that we get, Nikhil, and I know you have the answer to this. So when is the end of date of smart reporting and when will it cease to function? I know we were discussing it before this call.
Yes,
I
we
apologize
will.
for a much asked question, but it's changed many times. So I'm just trying to make sure we understand the current timeline.
Yeah, we will announce it shortly. Please look forward to communication from BMC over the next few days. We are going to communicate a date for the end of support extension for smart reporting.
Okay. And do you know when support ends, is that definitive that the application will cease to function or just support of the application functions?
So please wait for that announcement.
Okay, thank
It's
you.
likely to happen next week.
And typically what happens, Thomas, because I've worked in support for many years before I started doing this role, you're still able to use functionality, but you can't get support from support because we don't spend any more time on any new features. But all of this is being discussed, as Nikhil said, at the moment. And I will make sure, because I send out newsletters, it's also posted in a newsletter and put onto the BMC community. What Abhinay was sharing earlier, where that BMC community is for smart reporting and dashboards, we'll make sure we post something there too. And if you don't have access to it, I will make sure it's in the follow-up links from this recording as well. So we'll point you to where it's going to be.
Awesome, thank you.
No worries. Thank you for your question. Another question we have, do we have any plans from Abe? Do we have any plans to implement a cube feature to hold partial amount of data to query rather than query hitting to DB on every request refresh?
We don't have any plans to do that because, quite frankly, we aren't aware of use cases where we might have to do something like a cube. But at least not in the service management, operations management domain. We aren't aware of enough number of use cases to be able to implement cubes.
Abe, I can see you've come off of mute. Can you hear us okay? I don't know if you've joined via the browser, because sometimes when people join via the browser, they can't always speak. He does look like he's come off but can't talk to us. Nikhil, we'll put a follow-up on there. I just put not currently. We'll just write a statement post this session, yeah?
Yeah. So there's also a comment from Jess. Let's look at that.
Yeah. Hello, Jess. I know you come quite regularly. Can you hear us okay? I can see two of your names, so I don't know if you join on two devices. Can you hear us?
I can hear you, yeah.
Okay.
This one was mostly just feedback. It's not a comment. So I was hoping to get it in front of the right eyes. Just that the BMC table still needs a lot in order to make it usable for us.
Yes, BMC table, we have, ever since we launched it, we continue to enhance it. You'll see some improvements in 24.4. If you attend the webinar on Thursday, you'll know what's new in BMC table. And that's not the end. We'll continue to improve it in future releases as well. We know that tables are probably the most common visualization used in dashboards. So we'll continue to enhance BMC table, including word wraps. Yes, word wrap is coming in an upcoming release. Scrolling up, most of these things you'll see in Thursday's webinar.
Great. Yeah, we're struggling to migrate as it stands. Like every time we build a report, it's not showing up the way that it needs to. So we keep getting blocked.
Okay.
Thank you.
Certainly. Yes, thanks for the feedback.
Okay, we don't have any further questions, so I'll just reach out. Does anyone else have any final questions for the team? Otherwise, I'll give you a little bit of time back from the session today, and we hope you found it useful. Everything that's been recorded today, including the slides, some of you may have joined a couple of the other sessions. We will be sharing those out in the next 24 to 48 hours. If you do have any general questions or need any help, feel free to also reach out, and hopefully we will see some of you on Thursday's session. So I'll just do one more call. Don't think we have any more. Abe, I can see you've raised your hand again. Do you want to try and come off mute? See if we can hear you. Unfortunately, we can't. I will drop you a message, Abe, after. If there's anything you want to speak with the team, we can arrange a follow-up. I want to thank everyone that's joined today. Hope you found this useful. Thank you, Nikhil, and the team that have presented today, Abhinay and also Ajinka. We'll look forward to seeing some of you over the next coming sessions that we've got planned. And again, there are more workshops coming up, so have a look on the BMC Connect webinar page. And if there's any other ideas of content or specific stuff that will be helpful, then again, please reach out and fill in the survey. So thank you, everyone, and have a good rest of the day.